Hey there, you me and DC fans, and welcome if you are new. I am the stepson of Krypton,
Nah, Mantis.
and today we bring you kind of an interesting video, a little more depressing on my end of some of the information that we have received, and that is what we are calling From Booster to Batman. So, Mantis.
Mm-hmm.
And I said that we're just calling
I
that.
love
I
Batman.
literally just made that name up like as we were getting ready to do this. So, let's go ahead and get on into the discussion, guys. All right, guys. So if you've been with us for a while, you know a little while ago we did a video talking about Booster Gold, one of my favorite characters. And the discussion was we know that James Gunn has a booster series planned for Max, HBO Max, whatever you want to fucking call it. But we know that the series is greenlit, it's ready to go. We just don't know who Booster is going to be. And in that video, we had discussed, I thought there was a lot of rumors swirling around about it possibly being Chris Pratt. And we've also done another video where we discussed Chris Pratt had visited the set of Superman and he was sitting there right next to James Gunn. But my other choice, I think Chris Pratt would be amazing, but my other choice was Glen Powell, who a lot of people know from Top Gun Maverick.
I am good. Booster. I'm very good.
That was his big role. And I thought he would do great because if you are a fan of Top Gun Maverick, or if you've at least seen it, the way he acts in there is pretty similar to Booster, right? He just thinks he's the shit, thinks he's the greatest hero, just like his character thought he was the greatest pilot and could take Tom Cruise. Fun fact, he couldn't. But we did discuss in there that he had mentioned that if he was going to come to the DCU, there was one character he wanted to play. However, it was not Booster. Mantis, do you want to let him know who he wants to play?
Well, it's actually the Joker, and it was kind of disappointing that he brought that up. I'm just kidding, guys. What the Joker? Yeah, has nothing to do. Well, it does have something to do with Batman, quite frankly. Because
that's quite a bit to do with Batman.
Yeah. There is some rumors right now rolling around on the interwebs that good old Glen Powell is, maybe throwing his cowl into the ring to be El Batmano. And there's been a lot, I'd say the rumors rather, but there's been some fuel lately to those, quite frankly, in the Twitterverse, because yeah, I call it Twitter. Look, you guys call it X. I'm gonna call it Twitter.
Verse.
Because he just started following James Gunn and what is it, Andy Muschietti? I can't pronounce. We can't pronounce names on this.
So, but
channel.
Andy, real quick, just interrupt you. So Andy is I think it's the director for the new what's going to be Batman: The Brave and the Bold, which is going to be the new movie. So, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So he just followed both of those. I mean, dude, people follow other people on the internet all the time. It's just weird timing. You know what I mean? It's a strange timing thing. And I agree with you. Like, I think he was better suited. His look is better suited to play Booster. However, in one of the tweets I saw, they had superimposed his head on the Batman suit or something resembling a Batman suit. He didn't look too bad. So, he would be a younger Batman, obviously, or a middle-aged Batman. He's not as young. He wouldn't be as young as
David Corn, or David Corn.
Yeah. So, which is funny because they both have been in Twisters, which has done fantastic, by the way, at the box office. So, yeah, which the funny enough though, his ties to the Cape Crusader isn't all in the Twitterverse either, because I'm sure you know this, but he was actually in one of the
Dark Knight Rises.
It's a stock exchange. There's no money you can steal.
Really? And why are you people here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was he had a short. He wasn't even actually on the same scene as Batman or Christian Bale. There, he was actually in the scene with Tom Hardy as Bane. But yeah, it's just funny that he was in a Batman movie previously, although it be very short. But he was in there as a stockbroker guy or something like that. So, yeah, it's very interesting. I think it's it wouldn't be out of left field, you know. Like we said, being that he has been in a couple of, I won't say hits, but like again, Twisters is doing really well, so you could call it a hit. Top Gun Maverick was a hit. I mean, at this point, I don't know, jumping into the superhero realm would be advisable for his quote unquote career, because as we've discussed, many people tend to not do well once they jump to superheroes. But you know, who knows? Maybe it is the right time for him to jump into the DCU, and I think it would be a cool addition to it for sure. He's a great actor, so.
Well, so real quick to touch back on, you said he's following James Gunn. He's following all of them, right? So Rachel, who's playing Lois Lane, David Cornsweet, who's playing, Superman Clark Kent. He's following everybody. He just boom, he's got everybody tagged on there now. So that's part of. And then he had spoke to. He had done some interviews where he not only said he wants to play Batman. That's the only character he'd want to play in the DCU. But even went to speak on what type of Batman he would be. So that's what really has kind of fueled the rumors and the hype he is. And of course, James Gunn has yet to come out and say, nope, we've not even started looking for our Batman. That whatever's going on. Now, here's the problem to what you were just saying, Will, about going into the superhero realm. If you were playing a major superhero, and Batman is, we discussed in literally the video we had just done before this one, that, Superman and Batman, whether you're a Marvel or DC fan, are two of the most iconic superheroes in all of comic book history, right? That's just they are. Superman was the original, and then, Batman was not too far off from there, but they are the two biggest, most well-known names, right? So when you take that role, it's difficult to break out of a typecasting. Now, I will say that Christian Bale has had no problem breaking out of it, but he is just a phenomenal actor, right? He has so many sides to him that, and the, I would say, almost method acting that he has done for some of the roles, whether it be losing
also
110 pounds or gaining 200 pounds for a role.
Yeah, well, also I would say the Christopher Nolan trilogy is kind of, I won't say an anomaly, but it really is, because it's the only series, I say trilogy or superhero movies in the DCEU that actually did really well. It's the most successful. So, I mean,
Aquaman
I
beat
think
it.
Well, okay. I mean, I still don't think Aquaman's even close to those three movies.
Don't get me wrong. My feelings on it. And don't get me wrong. I love Jason Momoa. A little side note here. But Aquaman is one of my least favorite of the DCEU movies. I'm just not a fan of Aquaman as far as the movie. I thought there was just too much CG. Oh, we're not going to go into it. But I'm not a fan of it. So I agree with you. I think any of the Christopher Nolan Batmans beat Aquaman. Sorry. Hate on me, if you will.
Yeah, I just think those were very successful superhero movies, and they did launch, I think, he was in American Psycho before those, so, I don't know. Christian Bale's just a very good actor, so it is what it is on that. He's been in several other movies that I really enjoy as well, like The Prestige and a couple other things, so, I think the pairing, again, because, Muschietti, or gosh, I can't pronounce his name. You know what I'm talking about. The director also directed The Flash too, which was, I think I enjoyed that film, and thought it was pretty good. So aside from the CGI, but whatever. I think it would be pretty good. I think he would do well in the role, and I don't know. Now's the time, I think. For him, it's really the time. It's go big or go home, quite frankly.
So here's the problem I have, right? Like, I'm looking at a picture of him right now, and I see him with the cowl and stuff, and I still just don't see Batman. I'm not saying he'd be a bad Batman, but I see Booster, right? Like there's just maybe that's where my mind just immediately had gone to. I think he does. Glen Powell does. He's a great actor. I think he's been doing great in a lot of different roles. I just my mind's kind of already gravitated. I think my problem is, we had discussed before about, when you just kind of know, like we just did for the few of you, and I do say few of you that watched our Lobo video. We just talked about how like Jason Momoa is like perfect for that role, right? When I think of a Lobo coming to the big screen, Jason Momoa is who I gravitate towards. Same thing with Patrick Stewart for Professor X. Dude, when they first announced the movie, I'm like, dude, it's got to be Patrick Stewart, and it was. Right? I don't have anybody in mind right now. Like there isn't somebody that calls to me right now when I think The Dark Knight. That's the person that should play him, right? I don't have one of those. So that's where it's kind of hard for me. Where I'm open to give anybody a shot. That now I know in the article that we've been talking about referencing at the bottom, they're talking about like Kit Harington, and I'm like, you gotta be fucking crazy. No. Like again, just because somebody's popular doesn't mean they immediately go into that fucking role. Kit Harington's like fucking. They constantly in Game of Thrones talk about Jon Snow and how short he is, right? Like he's not gonna play a fucking tower, like Now I know they did mention in there as well that a lot of people's fans were talking about one that they would love to see is Alan Richardson, however you say his fucking last name, who plays Reacher on Amazon Prime. And he's a powerhouse. Now, in the show, they play him as 6'5". He's really 6'3", but he is a jack cock diesel motherfucker. I think he could be a very intimidating Batman, and also he kicks ass as Reacher. So I think he'd be awesome, somebody like that to play, something that's got the size and the physicality that you think of as Batman. Kind of a little side note to that as well. That was my problem with Bane. I love Tom Hardy as an actor, right? Didn't think he was right for the Bane role. I didn't think he was big enough. He's shorter than Christian Bale. I didn't think he got to 200 pounds, right? Which is okay for his size, but like Alan Richardson's 240, right? Just solid muscle, right? That's kind of who you think of like a Bane or something like that. So like, well, I think he could do an okay job. It's just not who I envisioned for that character. Could be wrong. I didn't think Heath Ledger would do good as Joker, and look what he did.
That's what I was about to bring up, or even if we're still talking Batman, I mean, even fuck, I can't think of his name. Old
Batfleck.
Smokey there. Yeah, I mean, so I don't know. I mean, I think it could be good. We'll just not know. I mean, again, we can't expect James Gunn to come out and diffuse all of these rumors every time one flies, right? So I think it's just one of those we're going to have to wait and see. I don't particularly take any followings on Twitter as indications of anything, because again, he was hanging out on the set of Twisters with Corin Sweat, right? I mean, like, fuck, who knows? They could have invited him back to a party that because they were filming fucking Superman. I mean, he could have just started hanging out with all of them. Who knows? There's just too many things there, and I think just because someone follows someone on Twitter is not a great indication. Although it's interesting, I will say that.
It is interesting. The thing that gets me with these articles is they keep saying all but confirmed, right? And I'm like, based off the information we get out of these articles, I'm like, what about that is all but confirmed? Like, I think we have different ideas of what is all but confirmed, right? Like, for me, all but confirmed is James Gunn has come out and said he wants Glen Powell as Batman, but it's not on IMDb as the fucking listing yet, right? That, for me, is all but confirmed, right?
Or the actor hasn't come out and said he's doing it.
Yeah, right? Like, oh, they've seen him on a screen test or something like that. That's what I imagine is all but confirmed. I feel like here there's some rumors flying. It's all but confirmed. You're like, is it though?
I mean, maybe he did do a read or something for it. I mean, that happens all the time. There's people that come in and read for various roles all the time, and you never hear about it. And sometimes you do. I mean, again, obviously staying in the superhero realm, there's video footage. I think it's real footage of Nicolas Cage wearing the Superman suit. You know, it's always funny.
Well, yeah, but that was different though, because he was going to be Superman until they just canceled the project. Like, it wasn't like they did test footage and like he read for the part. They were geared up to have him as Superman,
right?
And they canceled that.
Right. I'm saying, like, this happens all the time where actors and actresses come in to read and to see how they do for the part.
Well,
and,
yeah, so I'll give you the example. So, like, John Krasinski, who was in The Office, right? He talks about he interviewed for, I keep saying fucking interviewed. I did that in the last video. I was like, interviewed. He auditioned for the role of Captain America, and he said he got to the point where he got the suit.
16th choice for Captain America.
But you were in the costume and everything. I mean, you got pretty close.
Yeah, I got to the suit. It was a pretty big day for me.
And where he actually did a fitting, got tried on for the suit. He goes, but he was like 16th in line, right? So he got pretty far. Chris Pratt has interviewed and said, I say interviewed, that is actually interviewed. He's done interviews where he said, he goes, I auditioned for every role that included a male that even looked relatively close to me.
Auditioned for so many roles that were written as the heroic leader of the group, and whether it be a Marvel movie or any of these other studios.
He's like, I auditioned for all these roles before I got Star-Lord and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of actors, so I'm sure he's probably going to get a read, right? At least I feel like he'll probably get a read for Booster and Batman. And if he gets selected for whatever project, you know, he'll take it because why not? I mean, you know,
I mean, most likely. Again, and it's like you in another previous video, you said, you know, this is the time, you know, they're rebooting this stuff, and it's a big bet because if it takes off, you're in on the ground floor, right? It's like buying low. You know, you get in on that Google stock before it spikes, right? Like, if you're an actor and you get in on that, it's a big bet. But if you do, you're set on that character from the ground floor. Tony Stark, you know, or Robert Downey Jr., right? Like, such a big career move for him to take that role and bet on it, and he got it, and it ended up paying off big time.
Well, let's flip. Well, not flip now since you brought up Tony Stark, but let's go so Chris Evans, right? Everybody has loved him as Captain America, you know, and one of the things he said, he initially turned down the role of Captain America, and the reason why is because it required a 6-picture deal. He had to sign a contract for 6 pictures. And he didn't know that he wanted to make that kind of commitment because, again, you know, it's a couple of years in between these movies, right? Like, you know, it's 6 pictures means you're talking probably a decade minimum of committing to that character. But it's a huge commitment. And when you're talking about being Batman, Batman's going to be, you know, one of the foundational building blocks of the DCU. So you're not just signing on to Twisters or Top Gun Maverick. You're signing on to probably the next decade as this character, right? Well, this is what people are going to see you as.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because, again, they're not only going to have to see you as Batman, they're going to instantly compare you, just like Corn Sweat is. They're going to compare you to every single one before you. So
about to fucking say.
yeah. It's a big thing. I mean, it is. It's a like you said, it's big shoes to fill. But again, if you get it and it pays off, I mean, oh man, you're set, right? Like you are the next Batman, and it does well, you're in there.
Dude, think about that though. You know, and we think about it as me being a brokey here, right? Not to quote Andrew Tate, but me being a brokey. Like, you know, I work a normal fucking, I want to say 9 to 5. I wish I had those hours, but I don't. But I still work a normal 40-hour-a-week job, right? We do this for fun. But imagine, like, again, you sign on to movie roles. Okay, great. But if you sign on to something like this, you become a fucking action figure. You end up wound up as like, you know, something animated. There's all. I mean, you blow up, right? It's not like you just sign on to Twisters, right? You're signing on to, like, you become this icon. You're on fucking breakfast cereals, and you're on every kind of merch imaginable. And, you know, some of the action figures can look really shitty, where you're like, oh, that's not Glen Powell. We don't know who that is. But then the more expensive details ones, like that's kind of intense. While it might seem cool, that's also gotta be a little overwhelming, right? So
yeah,
go ahead.
Especially as a young actor. I mean, that's the thing too. I mean, it would be overwhelming, I would assume, right? So, especially growing up, I'm sure he's watched all those movies. He watched, Michael Keaton. He watched that Christian Bale. He watched even Affleck here recently. So I'm sure, and again, he's not going to try and play those the same way. Even in an article, he was talking about his spin, his take on Batman wouldn't necessarily match the tone that Matt Reeves is Batman, right? It's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same as any of them. So it's, I don't know. It's a gamble for sure. Especially in a real, like, probably the second most popular DC superhero. And I think the most interesting superhero. So I don't know. I guess my final thoughts on it. I wouldn't mind seeing it. Again, I think prejudging a lot of these actors is hard to do, obviously. And as we discussed in another video, James Gunn hasn't put much good feelings out to the community on the recent leaks and pictures from the set of the Superman film. So I don't know. It's again a wait and see approach, I think, for a lot of this stuff, and just we're all hoping and praying that it turns out well. So.
Well, Glen Powell's 36, so he's got time to, if he had to be in a 10-year fucking lockdown to play Batman, he's got time to, like, he'd still be young enough even by the time, a decade has passed, if we draw this out into these long, long universes again. So again, I don't think he'd be bad
too. He looks young.
Yeah.
So that helps him.
I mean, he looks like your douchey playboy kind of guy. Like, he's,
he does.
He's a handsome guy. I'm straight. I can tell you, he's a handsome guy. He's got those perfect features and things like that. So you could see him being a billionaire playboy philanthropist. Not to be Tony Stark, but Bruce Wayne's kind of the same thing on the opposite side. Except he's not quite the genius as far as inventions. More a detective and all that shit. But so yeah, he could play it again. I don't have anybody in my mind. Let us know down in the comments if you do, that if there's an actor you think would be perfect for Batman right now, because I don't have one, right? I'm kind of open to suggestions. I'm open to because again, I've made two big mistakes in judging actors, and this is why when I preached about like the super suit, I'm like, let's give it time, because I hated Heath Ledger being cast as Joker. I thought, I'm like, this is a guy from Brokeback Mountain, 10 Things I Hate About You, which I do like 10 Things I Hate About You, but I'm like, dude, this isn't his role. And he crushed it. And then I did not like when they cast Ben Affleck as Batman, but I thought in my opinion, you crucify me in the comments if you want to, but in my opinion, if we look at all of the aspects from Bruce Wayne to Batman being a detective, being the billionaire, the genius businessman, I thought Ben Affleck, and also being the physicality, I thought Ben Affleck did the best job as Batman. Hate me if you want to. And I hated
all around well.
Yeah, all around. Now, Mantis and I had talked, we were discussing when he was initially cast. I was fucking pissed, right? Did a great job. So I'm not too keen on myself. You guys do what you want, but myself making too many judgments ahead of time, because I've been wrong, when it comes to their casting, really just for the DC, because that's just been those two characters.
In this new Batman, who would do well as Batman and also do well as the full-on rapist?
I'm a full-on rapist,
I'll take the rapists for 200. That's therapist.
I mean, philanthropist.
Philanthropist. I'm so cutting that in there. Yes. Do you want your... Can we even say that word? Or do I have to edit that? Do I have to bleep that out? Like, is that a thing?
I think so.
We're over 20 minutes into the... Well, they flag that content, right? You can't use those words, apparently. YouTube gets pissed
I mispronounced it, YouTube. Fuck off.
I'll cut the clip in there. All right. But let us know, guys, down in the comments. Like, who is there somebody you envision right now of being Batman? Because, again, I don't have somebody in mind. like that, I think is perfect for the role. I'm open to suggestions. I'm open to Glen Powell. Seeing some test footage, but let us know who you think the next Batman should be. And, do you think Glen Powell would do a good job, or would you, like me, rather see him as Booster Gold? I don't know. And then, if you have made it with us this far, we definitely appreciate it. Consider liking this video. He is showing you where right now, albeit kind of oddly. Subscribing to the channel and then clicking the little bell notification so you get more of our videos as we bring you the news, right? And then also kind of if you have any opinions on this whole, because we try to bring you as accurate of news as we can. That's why we said, they say it's all but confirmed. When I read these articles, I don't get the all but confirmed vibes, but kind of let us know, like, how do you feel about that, right? Because it just seems like every rumor kind of blows up into, this is happening, right? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Who the fuck am I? We don't know.
I don't believe any of it. I mean, like we were discussing before we started this video, the guy that they thought that was rumored, I say it was blowing up, was I'm gonna mispronounce his name. The guy who was in the Eternals, the Palestinian actor. I can't think of his name now.
Kamel,
yes, yeah, that guy.
However you say his last name.
was blowing up as gonna be Booster Gold, and now you don't hear anything, right? Like so.
Yeah, I feel like that was just that was clickbaity, guys. And we here wrapping it up. We at You, Me, and DC, we try not to bring you clickbaity stuff, right? Because there's plenty of times Mansis and I were discussing earlier where I'm like, dude, we could put this picture and we could put this title, and I'm like, we don't want to do clickbait stuff, right?
Dude, the title of this video should be Batman Confirmed. That's exactly what it should fucking be.
And there's a small part of me that wants to do it, guys, but we try not to, right? We try not to bring you clickbait stuff because we hate it, right? We don't want to do the same thing to the people who are subscribed. And by the way, we do appreciate all of our subscribers, both the newest as well as people who've been subscribed for a very, very long time. You guys are the reason we do this. Again, we're not sponsored. We don't, you see where we're at, right? We don't make money off this channel. We both work full-time jobs. We do this for fun and for you guys, right? We hope you enjoy what we're putting out. Let us know if there are certain things you want to see or maybe see less of, and we can do that as well too, right? We're here for you guys.
Yeah, if you want to see less of me, I can lose some weight. I need to lose some weight.
That, for anybody who doesn't know, because I'm going to cut it in here, was a real genius quote, kind of turned a little bit.
Look, I want to start seeing a lot more of you in the lab.
Fine. I'll gain weight.
So, all right, guys, that's going to wrap it up here on this episode of You, Me, and DC. Until the next time, we will see you then.
Later.